What's going on, guys? Stefan, S&E's Garage. Today we're here in the garage with our GS-F, and we're going to start talking about getting this thing up to date as far as fluids and maintenance is concerned. It does only have 33,000 miles on it now, but it is a 2016. So it is going to be due for, coolant and things like that. Now, before we go ahead and change the coolant, we need to address one major flaw with the 2UR GSE here, and that is the valley plate coolant leak. So Toyota, in their infinite wisdom, I shouldn't really knock them because they make a great product. But underneath the intake manifold, there is what is called the valley plate. The valley is what's in between the V of any V engine, so V6, V8, V12. There's going to be a plate, and on older engines, that's where you'd find your push rods. These cars obviously don't use push rods. So there is a valley plate that seals the valley for coolant flow. And there's no gasket for that. It is a FIPG, a form-in-place gasket, and apparently it is the Achilles heel for these engines. They like to leak, they like to seep, and it's not an easy repair. You're pulling basically the whole top of the engine off. You're pulling the intake manifold, you're pulling all the wiring, all the hoses, your injector drivers. It's a big job. So before we go ahead and change this coolant, I want to get down in there with a bore scope, and I want to make sure that our valley plate is not leaking, seeping, or anything of the sort, because if it is, I want to address it. I don't want to put new coolant in it and then have to drain that new coolant in another 5-6 months to reseal the valley plate. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to set you up with, we're going to be using our Xtool D8 scan tool, and it has an accessory which is a bore scope, and it's a nice big screen. We're going to get a good look in there, and we're going to see exactly what, if anything's going on with our valley plate. I'm not losing any coolant, and I am relatively low mileage. These usually, from what I've seen on the GS vehicles, fail up or closer to the 100,000 mile mark. It was a lot more common on the IS5s. Supposedly they used the wrong sealant in the IS5. I'm not sure. It's just something that I've heard, but obviously I don't have one, so I can't confirm that myself. But we're going to go ahead and see what's going on with ours, if anything. All right, guys, so we got access to the valley plate here just at the nose of the intake manifold, right behind the throttle body. And here you'll see what looks to be one of the fuel lines that goes to the high pressure fuel rail. And right here, what you're looking at is the valley plate. So right here is where it seals to the valley, and this is one of the areas that it likes to leak. So we're going to try our best here to try to ride that area back and see what we can't see as far as leaks are concerned. It's a little bit tricky to get this thing to bend in the way that you want it to when you can't actually grab it. But we're just gonna go ahead and check for leaks through here, and I'm not really seeing anything, which is a good sign. With Toyota coolant, when they leak, you'll see a pink residue. It's unmistakable. It looks like pink powder, like pink Kool-Aid almost, as weird as that is to say, is kind of what you'll see. And I'm not seeing any of that here, at least not on this side. So let's go ahead, get on the other side. We'll check the other side, and then we'll see what we can get from the back. And if everything looks good, we're going to go ahead and order our 2 gallons of coolant, and we're going to do a video on changing the coolant on this thing. Now, one of the most common areas that you'll see any drippings from a valley plate leak is the transmission bell housing. Basically, what'll happen is the valley will fill up with coolant, and then it'll drip backwards onto the transmission bell housing. And this is what we're looking at here. These are the top 2 bell housing bolts, and you'll see that everything back here is dry. Everything here looks good.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you found this video informative. We showed you how to check for a valley plate leak. As you saw, ours is not leaking. So myself and my little guy here, Maverick, took a ride over to Gateway Toyota. If you guys need any parts for your Toyota or Lexus, Gateway Toyota in Toms River. They're great guys over there. They know what they're doing. They'll help you out. So you'll see here, we spent $136. We bought two gallons here of super long life, and we bought 6 quarts of WS trans fluid. Now we are not going to be doing the transmission fluid on this vehicle because I already checked it. It still looks nice. We're not going to bother. It's only got 30,000 miles on it, but we are going to be doing the coolant. We are going to be doing the rear differential, and we are going to be doing both torque vector modules on either side of the differential, because this has a torque vectoring diff, and they both just happen to use WS trans fluid. So Maverick here is going to help me. We're going to go through all the fluids on this car minus the trans fluid, and we're going to be making videos on that. So if you guys do want to see videos on how to maintain your Lexus, how to maintain your Toyota, things you should be doing, definitely like, share, and subscribe. We're going to be taking care of this vehicle from bumper to bumper, and we're going to make it as new as possible for us to enjoy. So like I said, like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.